What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? The word is Marriage at First Sight. It's trash. It's garbage. It's a wrap. It is a colossal fail. Please get rid of this show. It has been proven that being married at first sight does not work because the majority of the marriages that have come from this show have been failures. Failures, big fat failures with a capital F. I don't know where in the world Married at First Sight finds these people. I'm talking about from season 1 up until now. I don't know where you find these people, and I've always said about this show, the people that you find to be on this show, all of them need to be evaluated by board certified, licensed psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever the hell you want to call it, because these people here, they come on this show with all of their trauma, all of their toxicity. They throw it at each other, which in turn they throw it at us, and it's not an enjoyable viewing experience. Everybody in this show, on this show, everybody on this show this season, they're going to get this work from me. All of y'all are going to get this work because from the experts all the way down to the production to everybody on this cast, I'm going to tear all y'all apart because y'all all pissed me off royally and wasted my entire time. It's so focused on the drama, on the toxicity, on the dysfunctionality. It's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable. Okay. And y'all are thinking that, oh, this is great ratings, people tearing each other apart, women crying, men being deceitful. This is good TV. Everybody's going to be watching this. Our ratings are going to go through the roof. But what was wrong with the original premise of watching people trying to build a relationship upon getting married at first sight? That's the whole reason why anybody even started to tune into this show. That original premise has been thrown out the window with all common sense. And now we're left with this garbage because years and years and years of the producers talking about we need ratings has led to this crap that we got in season 17. Let's get into it, y'all. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as possible because it's not really worth my time talking about what happened on Decision Day because Decision Day was pretty much predictable except for one couple who made a really dumb decision, but let's get into it. Becca and Austin, the couple in question. So before Becca and Austin show up, Dr. Pepper says that Becca and Austin started off as the golden couple. To me, they were the golden couple only during the honeymoon. When they came back to Denver, they were no longer the golden couple to me. I felt like it fell apart at the honeymoon because I felt like I was seeing some little tiny, minute red flags during the honeymoon of Becca and Austin. So to me, it kind of was troubling from the honeymoon stage, but it definitely, to me, I didn't think they were the golden couple. They thought they were the golden couple. They tried to convince us that they were the golden couple, but they were not the golden couple. There was no golden couple at all this season. So Dr. Pia says Austin lacks emotional awareness, but there's chemistry there. Dr. Pia said this. Out of the 3 experts, I put a little bit more trust in Dr. Pia's expertise than I do in Dr. Pepper or Pastor Cal, because Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, they are barely phoning it in. They are over this show. I don't know if they have bigger and better opportunities on the horizon. I don't know if they're just tired of dealing with all of these dysfunctional people. I don't know what it is about Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, but they rarely made an appearance. They could care less what the hell goes on. Dr. Pia carried the show as far as the experts went. So for her to say that there was chemistry between Austin and Becca, I'm like, girl, did you watch any of this? And I understand that, she might have been fooled in those initial visits because they wanted to pretend like they were this perfect couple. But I know that you're seeing the dailies. You're seeing the stuff that the production is recording and sending to y'all. I know you've got to be watching that, Dr. Pia. There's absolutely no chemistry between Becca and Austin, of all people. So Pastor Cal said that there was something valuable there. Of course, he's going to say that because Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper will always try to defend their matchmaking skills, and they will always try to keep people together who have no business being together. So of course, he's going to say that, there's nothing valuable between Becca and Austin. So the experts, they just want to justify their matchmaking decision. So the Becca and Austin, they come out. Becca starts talking about, oh no, they haven't arrived yet. We're still watching the background of their story. And in Becca's voiceover, she says that Austin was more concerned with how they were looking on camera than how they were actually doing as a couple. Austin says in his voiceover that Becca struggled with his religious beliefs, slower intimacy speed, and his directness. So all of this is BS. All of this stuff is BS because we know what really was the issue between them towards the end of the damn episode. And of course, I'll get to that later. All of this stuff is BS. Now, another thing that pissed me off about this season is that the main issues of what everybody was bickering about, the reason why nobody could get along, all of this stuff was going on off camera. The stuff that they were presenting to us on camera was completely 100% fake. They wanted to keep up appearances. They were protecting their image. They were so-called protecting their marriage. They were protecting each other or whatever the hell was going on. Everybody was protecting, showing us a very false narrative of themselves and of what the hell was going on. And the real stuff was happening off camera, was happening behind the scenes. And that is such injustice to the viewer who is watching the show, giving the show views so that this show can stay alive barely, and y'all are feeding us nothing but fake crap, and then y'all want us to come back next season. So they both arrive now for the decision day thing. Austin talks about the breakdown in communication. Becca talks about the two realities, how there was on-camera Austin, off-camera Austin. She talked about that ad nauseum. Austin says that she doesn't trust me on or off camera. Pastor Cal says that when the cameras are off, when the production is gone, he was talking to Becca. He was telling her that's the real Austin. That's the time for y'all to really connect and try to build something, is when the cameras are gone. So what's the point of having a damn show? Why can't they try to connect and build something on camera as well? This is still a television show, Pastor Cal. I don't know what the hell you think is going on, Pastor Cal, with all due respect, but this is still a television show. For him to say, well, y'all are really building off camera. So what's the point of having a show? So what are we supposed to be watching then? If everything, the real stuff is going on off camera. So he says that that's when they need to make a deeper connection when production is gone. Dr. Pia says, when I saw y'all, you all seemed really connected. It seemed like y'all were doing really, really great. And Becca said, well, that was because, the cameras were there, and Austin is always going to appear more caring, more affectionate, more aware, and treat me better as long as the camera's there. But it's a different story off camera. Dr. Pia points out that they were sitting really close to each other on the decision day couch. He had his arm, she says, oh, he has his arm around you. Dr. Pia, no, he did not have his arm around her. He had his arm on the back of the couch, okay, where she was sitting, and maybe he was rubbing her back, tickling her back. I don't know. I didn't see any of that. He just had his arm draped on the back of the couch. Stop trying to make it look like there's something really beautiful happening between these two people. So Dr. Pia says, well, he has his arm around you and he's rubbing your back and y'all are sitting really close together. So do you not believe this authenticity? Do you not believe that he's being authentic right now? And Becca looks at him and she's like, because by this time she's already crying. The waterworks have already started. So she's like, well, I want to believe that this is him being authentic with me. So Dr. Pia, along with the other two experts, are trying to, I don't know if you want to call it gaslighting Becca or leading her leading her on with this false narrative, trying to make her believe that, hey, give this guy a chance. It seems like he really does like you because look, he has his arm around you and he's sitting next to, like, what do you want him to do? To be sitting like 3 feet away from her? Like, they're trying to make her believe that there's something really there, Becca, and you just been imagining, this other stuff about Austin, no, there's nothing there. He doesn't like her. He doesn't want her. He never had. I don't think he liked her since the honeymoon. Okay. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to have anything to do with Becca. He's just going to, I don't know what the hell's going on with Austin. I don't even know why he's willing to try if he has other interests elsewhere. So the experts are really trying to convince them to stay together because they just, like I said before, they want to justify their matchmaking skills. They want to justify the fact that they put two people who have no business being together, that they put these two people together and it's going to work hell or high water because they're the experts and they know better than anybody else. So when it came time to make a decision, Austin and Becca both say yes, they want to stay together. You could have knocked me over with the goddamn, oh, excuse me, you could have knocked me over with a feather, because I was just like, Becca has been miserable more than she's been happy. Austin has been doing damage control since they landed in Denver. He's been working overtime, double time, triple time, trying to keep up this illusion of who he wants us to think he is on camera, and still having to put up with a woman that he's not interested in once production is gone. You're telling us that y'all are going to say yes to each other when y'all have both been extremely miserable. Becca has been crying. She's been not herself. The way she was in the beginning of the season is completely different from the way she is now. She was spunky. She was vibrant. She was exciting. She was interesting. She was happy. And now she's constantly crying. She looks like she's in a constant state of real depression. So they say that they want to stay together. They both say yes. And Becca says that she needs to be with Austin without production. But you were, honey. That was the whole problem, was that when production was not there, you didn't like how he acted. He put on a show for production. And when production was gone, he was his real, true, authentic self, and you didn't like it. So what do you mean you need to know him, or you need to work on this marriage without production? Do you mean without the girl that he found an interest in? Is that what you're talking about? Like, when she's gone, then you want to work on your marriage with Austin? Like, what are you really trying to say? And I'm sorry that I'm, giving away what happened at the end, but I'm trying to figure Becca out. Like, trying to figure out what is she talking about when she says, well, I just want to see what it's going to be like with him without production. But you did see that, because you were so unhappy with the Austin that you had when production was gone. That was your biggest complaint, your second biggest complaint, your first biggest complaint. You didn't even mention it on decision day. So they didn't talk. Okay, so her first biggest complaint throughout this whole entire season was the lack of intimacy. And she did not bring that up, not one time on decision day. All she talked about was optics, 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 which I realized was just a code word for probably the other girl who worked on production that he somehow, I guess, that caught his eye or whatever. So Austin's issue was never that he possibly was gay. His issue was not that he was, that he had ED. His issue wasn't that, his issue was he just was not interested in Becca because he had his eye on somebody else, and he didn't want to feel like he was going to let the other girl down by creating intimacy with Becca, because he's interested in this other girl who was working for production. That's where his main interest lied. So he was more concerned with making that other girl a priority, and then at the same time he's crapping all over Becca. That's the kind of guy Austin is. So maybe he is emotionally immature, because that's the kind of stuff that high school kids do. So after they make their decision, they're having a conversation, just the two of them. And Becca says that she's really anxious about all of this. Austin, he's trying to convince her that he's happy, even though he looks absolutely miserable. Becca hasn't been happy in the past. She says herself, she says this, I haven't been happy in the past 3 weeks. So why did you say yes? If you've been unhappy for damn near a month, why did you say yes? She says that even though she hasn't been happy, she's been miserable, she's been depressed, she's been in a funk for 3 whole weeks, she still wants to stay married to this man. So I'm thinking, they don't even look like a couple that are so excited about starting this new chapter in their lives of being a real married couple now. Now that the show is about to wrap, they've already made their decision. You would think that they'd be excited, jumping up and down, giving each other, clinking champagne glasses, hugging each other, just being so happy and excited that they made it, and now real life is going to start. No, they look miserable. He looks very perplexed. He looks confused to me, actually. He looks confused. Becca looks still like she's in a funk. And supposedly they want us to believe that they're really happy that they've decided to stay together. Later on that night, at around 11:30 p.m., Becca is, recording herself, doing a little, whatever you want to call it, a selfie, whatever, talking to us on her, whatever. And she tells us that she found out through Claire and Emily that while everybody was out celebrating or whatever, they saw Austin and Brennan, and they were hanging out with a particular member in production. So this obviously pisses Becca off because this is the night of decision day. They made their decision earlier on that day, and Austin is out with everybody else who didn't stay married. He's out with all the newly singles. And supposedly he's hanging out with somebody from production that has been causing a problem between him and Becca. On the day that you made your decision, on the day that you said yes, Earth to Austin, the show is over. You don't have to pretend anymore. Okay, this is the end of the season. We're wrapping it up. So why do you feel the need, Austin, to say yes when we are at the end of everything? Like, I don't understand. Like, what is going on with Austin? If you have your eye on somebody else, then tell her no on decision day and go do whatever the hell you want to do with whoever you want to do it with. I'm pretty sure he ain't going to wait 6 months with her. So it's really hurtful for her that he's running around with the crew, with production, and he couldn't even stay one night with Becca the night that they made their. You would think that of all nights, he would have decided to stay home with her the night that he decided, to be with her. Okay, we didn't tell you to do that. In fact, I'm pretty sure everybody that was watching this was shocked that they both said yes to each other, because we were for sure that they were both going to say no. You know, he's faking the funk in front of everybody, pretending. She's upset because, you know, he's not attracted to her and he's, you know, doing this whole optics thing. You would have thought that the most logical next thing would have been for them to both say no. But these two idiots both said yes on decision day. And then later on, they get upset about the decision that they made. Like, I don't understand. You stay with somebody long enough, they're going to embarrass you again and again and again. Let somebody embarrass you one time, learn your lesson, and move on. Austin embarrassed the hell out of Becca. He wasn't attracted to her. He played with her emotions. He was fake. You know, like she constantly said, oh, he's one way on camera, he's another way off camera. You know, created this romantic night, but still didn't do nothing with her. Could barely kiss the girl. Embarrassed the hell out of her. And she still said yes on decision day. And then look at what happened. Look at what occurred after that. You stay with somebody long enough, they're going to embarrass you time and time again. You're going to think, oh, he embarrassed me so bad. He's not going to do this again. There's no way he's going to hurt me again. They will hurt you again and again and again. A person will show you exactly who they are that first time around. Once you see that, you better hit the road, Jack. But she didn't want to listen to anybody. She wanted to stay, for whatever reason, wanted to stay in this marriage, this very toxic situation. Moving on to Emily and Brennan. So before Emily and Brennan came out, the experts didn't talk so glowingly about Emily and Brennan because they knew that this relationship was dead in the water. They were not going to try to convince these two people to stay, even though that's their MO, is to make people stay together. They were not going to waste their time doing any of that, because that's how bad it was between Emily and Brennan, that the experts were like, you know what, we're going to let them get a divorce and we're going to keep it pushing. We're not even going to try to make them stay. So when they're showing us, you know, the recap of their relationship, Brennan, let's skip over that. Let's just get down to the decision day, when they both showed up. So they both show up. And Brennan prided himself. He bragged about how he did not run away, because he says in a normal relationship, as soon as he would have seen red flags in a woman, he would have ran. But in this situation, he prided himself in staying even though he saw red flags. So Emily was like, okay, you didn't physically run away from me, but you acted like you were running away. Everything that you did was you running from the whole entire situation. She says, everything you did shows that you did run, because he was MIA. He was physically present, but not emotionally present. He didn't want to do any of the exercises. He didn't want to try to make anything work with her. I thought he was downright rude and mean to her, and it probably goes both ways, but I can only go by with what I saw. And So I don't know what reality he's living in, where he feels like he did the right thing. He feels like he really tried to make this marriage work. I don't know what he's talking about, because this is not what I saw on television. So, and plus another thing, Dr. Pia, this whole entire time, she stayed on Brennan's neck. She was not going to let this man breathe. So Dr. Pia calls out, the fact that he's acting really defensive. And he's like, well, don't you see how I'm being attacked? And Dr. Pia was like, actually, no, I don't think you're being attacked. How are you being attacked, Brennan? So Brennan brought up that she's a very negative person, and the only example that he gives is that she had said something less than flattering about Michael's vows to Chloe. And I'm thinking to myself, if she was such a negative person and you're basing your decision on the fact that she was so damn negative, what other examples can you give besides the fact of her being her saying whatever she said about Michael's vows? Like, can you give us any more examples of her being really, truly negative? I'm not saying that she wasn't. In my personal opinion, I think that Emily was not as negative as he painted. I thought she was a positive person, because look at who she was living with. And every time that she called him out on something, anytime that she so-called attacked him, I think he deserved it. I think he absolutely, because he's one of those people. He's, him and Brennan came from the same school of optics, and he was one of those people that would portray one thing on camera and be something else off camera. So I had no issues if she ever called him out on something, if she got mad at him about something. I had no issues about that, because he was doing the double agent thing as well. So Brennan said that he was being very protective of her by not saying hurtful things. And so Pastor Cal was like, you keep on talking about protective. What are you protecting her from? Pastor Cal also asked him, if you could say what you really wanted to say, would it be really damaging? And he was like, oh yeah. Then do tell, Brennan. Share. Because you're talking you're doing this double talk, or you're just alluding to this, alluding to that. We don't know what you're talking about when you talk about her being so negative and how you don't want to hurt her feelings if you really told her the truth. You don't want to tell her about herself. So we're waiting for you to give us some details, some evidence, so that we can understand you better. But you don't want to do that, which makes me think, because there is none. So you come out looking like the bad guy, because she's got like a box full of evidence against you and how horrible you treated her. So Pastor Cal was like, well, what are you protecting her from? And he says, well, I could say some really hurtful things, and that's what I'm protecting her from. So you're protecting her from you. You're the big bad monster that you're trying to protect her from the things that will be coming out of your mouth. You're protecting her from you. Okay. Brennan says that, so then Pastor Cal called him out for his BS. And he was like, from day one, you want to paint this picture that you were really invested in this marriage, but I don't see it. So I'm calling BS on you. And Brennan says that he was invested since day one. Emily was like, it was over as soon as we came back from the honeymoon. She says, as soon as we came back from the honeymoon, there was like a switch in him, and it was over. And it was an uphill battle for her from there on. So Dr. Pia, okay, like she wasn't going to let Brennan live. So Brennan gave just a real blanket apology. He was like, okay, I'm sorry. And Emily, being, like a lot of us women, she was like, well, what are you apologizing for? What are you specifically apologizing for? Crickets. He couldn't answer the question. So then she went through her laundry list of all the things that she felt like he did that was wrong, that hurt her, that, messed up their marriage, that showed that he wasn't trying. She went through a plethora of things. And so after all of that, he says, I'm sorry I tried to protect you and I shouldn't have. So he was like, bump all with what all you're saying. I'm not admitting or denying. I'm just going to sit here and say, well, I'm sorry that I try to protect you. Emily says that Brennan told her he had enough information on her to ruin her on television. He denied that. He claimed that, she had said something about how she was going to make him look bad or, ruin his reputation on television or something. I forgot exactly what he said. She denied that as well. Pastor Cal says, you guys are irretrievably broken, and we're not going to fight. Basically, we're not going to fight for you. This is not worth our time. So needless to say, they both said that they wanted a divorce. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Moving on to Cameron and Claire. So Claire struggled with when they're showing us, the history of their relationship, the history of their marriage, Claire in her voiceover, she said that she struggled with feeling wanted and desired, and that he didn't open up to her. Cameron says that Claire could have done better in building a connection with him. So they both arrive, they sit down, and they talk about the separation during their illness. Cameron says that it was better for him to deal with his illness alone because Claire constantly tried to reach out to him. Now that I realized later on exactly how Cameron was feeling about Claire, I call BS on that. I don't think that he was avoiding her because he wanted to deal with his illness alone. I think he just was through with her. He was done with her. Clara said that it was really hard for her to not be there for him because she's a caring and nurturing person. And whenever she's going through something, she wants to be surrounded by people. So for her, she really didn't understand why he kept pushing her away. And that was difficult for her. She felt like they were growing apart, and it could have been a time when they could have been getting closer together, but they were actually growing apart. There was many misunderstandings between them, a lot of miscommunication between them. Dr. Pia says, well, why didn't you talk to us about it if y'all were struggling so hard with communication? And Claire said that we were too busy protecting each other. You were too busy lying. You were to stop with this protecting stuff. You were too busy lying. Y'all are not bodyguards. Y'all are not secret agents. Y'all are not FBIs. Y'all are acting like y'all are protecting each other for dear life, from something really big and horrible and scary. Y'all are just painting false narratives. Y'all are both the men and the women are so concerned about how they are appearing because they know after this, they're looking at brand deals. They're looking at expanding their social media platforms. And so they want to have a good reputation on this show because they want to build something else off of this show. That's what this is all about. Really, truly. That's what this is all about. This isn't about marriage, making a connection with somebody and loving someone. This isn't about an experiment to see if, arranged marriages could work. It's got nothing to do with that. People come on this show, it seems like lately, they come on this show, they want to make a great impression so that they can increase their social media platform, so they can, go on and have like big brand deals or do whatever out there in the social media universe. That's what they really are trying to do. So stop feeding us this BS about, we were just trying to protect each other. I'm just trying to protect him. I'm just trying to protect her. No, you're protecting your reputation so you can build something after this show. That's got nothing to do with love, relationships, or marriage. So, they talk about how they had an issue during their marriage about the word slender. Evidently, I guess Claire had asked Cameron. I don't know how it went. I'm pretty sure somebody in the comments is going to explain it better than I can. I think Claire, when they were still married and living together, Claire had asked Cameron what he was looking for. What did he tell the experts that he wanted in a woman? And I think Cameron had said, out of the list of things he wanted, I think he mentioned the word slender. And I guess it was implying that he didn't get what he wanted. And so then Claire felt some kind of way, like he was trying to say that she was fat. And then she talks about how she suffers from body image issues. And he was like, I wasn't trying to say that. In fact, I think you're very slender. And it was like this big communication about the word slender and exactly what he meant. Is he calling her slender? Is he calling her fat? It got miscommunicated, misunderstood, because I think Claire is constantly looking for the negative in everything. I mean, we weren't, like I said, this must have happened off camera. We don't know what the hell was going on. We can't say one way or the other if he was being a jerk about it, or if he was being sympathetic, or if she misunderstood him. We have no idea because we weren't there. So they talk about that, and their communication is trash. Claire and Cameron's communication is absolute garbage. They do not know how to communicate at all. It's like they're hearing and saying completely different things. Like they're talking a different language with one another. So then Claire apologizes for taking him on a roller coaster of emotions because she was always hot and cold with him. He never knew what kind of Claire he was getting. He didn't know she was going to like him that day or not, how she felt about him any particular day and any particular hour of the day. He had no idea because she was all over the place. So she apologized for that. He apologized to her for whatever mistakes he made. Who knows? Who cares? And so when it comes time to making a decision, Cameron says that whatever attraction that he had for her is completely gone, and that he looks at her like a relative or a sister. There's no, physical attraction at all. And so he said no to staying married. And then Claire says that she wants the kind of love where you can express and not have to explain your feelings all the time. So I was so happy that they both said no, because these two people have no business being together at all. Let's now get to the damn get together. When everybody got together. Once again, I have to suffer through looking at Orion. Austin tells us that he and Becca are in a good spot right now in his little interview. He says that they're in a really good spot. I'm like, Austin, why are you still lying? The show is over, my dear. You don't have to lie and pretend and be like, oh, I got to make it to the end. I got to make it to decision day so I can get the fatter check. I got to make it to decision. It's over. Decision day came and went. Stop lying. But he continues to tell us that him and Becca are in a really good spot right now. But at the get together, he doesn't even know where the hell his wife is, because everybody's there and you hear Austin say, where's Becca? You're in such a good spot, but you have no idea where your wife is. So Becca shows up looking frumpy as hell because she looked like she came there to fight. You know how it is when you're when you're going to get into a fight with somebody, you dress real comfortable in your tennis shoes. And she looked like she was coming to fight. She was real frumpy looking. The other women that were there, Lauren, Chloe, Emily, and Claire, they're all dressed, cute. They had the cute outfits, cute shoes. Here comes Becca, honey, looking, I don't know, like what. And she came there because she had a purpose. She wasn't there to commiserate or to reunite or to mingle with her. No, she had a purpose. So Becca immediately sets up the scene. And you know that her and Claire and Emily set this whole scene up to try to trap your boy Austin. It was so planned. It was so scripted amongst the three of them. Not scripted with production, but scripted amongst the three of them. You know, they talked about how they were going to set him up to try to catch him in this lie. And poor Austin, he didn't even see it coming. So so Becca sets it up and she's asking Austin, so what did y'all do last night? No, she asked the group, what did y'all do last night? And Emily says, oh, we had Italian and then we went out to a bar. So, Becca threw the ball, Emily caught it, here we go. So Becca then says, Austin, did you go out last night? And Austin was like, yeah. And then Becca says, did you go out with anyone else? And Austin was like, it was just, the whole group. And Becca says, were there any producers there? And Austin's like, nope. And then he realized, okay, then it clicked. Then it clicked in his head. Oh, okay. She set me up. She already knows the what's up. Everybody here knows the what's up but me. So first he's like, nope. And then he's like, well, I don't know. I don't know who the hell was there. I don't know. And so then Becca says, don't you remember? And Austin says, like, what's going on? Are you mad at me or something? And then Becca says, did you come into this experience for a friendship with the producer or to be in a marriage with me? And of course, Austin says, to be in a marriage with you. Like, where's this going? Like, what's going on? So Becca then says, so on the night of the decision day, why were you out with a producer? And then Austin says, I wasn't out with a producer. And so then Claire says, okay, I got to stop you right here because now you're straight up lying. You're straight up lying to her. So then Becca accuses him about, she accuses him of wanting like he went out with this particular producer. She's trying to imply that they intentionally got together. Austin and this producer chick intentionally made plans to get together. And this was the night of decision day where she's expecting her husband to be home with her so they can celebrate in the fact that they've decided to stay together for the rest of their lives. And he's out, trying to hook up with some producer chick. So Becca says that this producer has been a rift in their marriage, along with everything else, the lack of intimacy, the religious thing, everything else. This producer has been a problem in their marriage. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you hold that back, Becca? Like, why wouldn't you talk about that? What is this man doing for you that makes you want to protect him so much? To this degree, where your intuition is letting you know that he's actually interested in somebody else, somebody who works for this show, somebody that you are around a lot, who's practically like a coworker to y'all. He has his eye on her and you never wanted to bring this up. So you had us thinking that There could have been all these other issues between you and him, but the real issue is the reason why he was avoiding intimacy with you. And I'm not blaming Becca for Austin being with this producer. I'm blaming Becca for not calling him out on it. Now, Austin, let me talk to you real quick. This game that you played, you're so worried about optics. You're so worried about how you're appearing. And Becca blew your whole cover where she should have. And now you're looking like one of the worst husbands in Married at First Sight history. The day that you decided to stay married to Becca is the day that you went out with another woman, practically. And you had enough trust in everybody that they were going to keep this secret for you. That just shows how stupid you are. I mean, Austin, you're like one of the dumbest people that I have ever seen, because the decisions that you make are just god awful. The game, I don't know if you're trying to be a player, Mac Daddy. I don't know what game you're trying to play, Austin, but you fell flat on your face and you looked absolutely stupid with how you were leading Becca on, playing games with Becca, making it real obvious to us that you were not really interested in her. I don't know who you thought believed you were really interested in starting something with Becca. You were constantly running away from her, running away from intimacy, because you didn't want to make the woman that you really wanted to be with, you didn't want to make her upset. So he actually says that he didn't think it was going to be a problem for him to hang out with, I don't know if he meant to hang out with the producer or to hang out with everybody else, including the producer. He didn't think it was going to be a problem. So both Claire and Becca said, well, that is the problem if you didn't think it was going to be a problem. So Austin is sticking to his story that he had just ran into the producer. They just happened to meet by chance that night. It wasn't like, they intended to get together that night. So then he begins to kind of gaslight her, because Becca says to the group, I have been cool, calm, and collected this whole entire time, but now I'm gonna let it all out. And then Austin was like, Becca, don't lie, or whatever he said. Don't lie. You have not been cool, calm, and collected. He says to her that you've been extremely emotional and really sensitive. So he starts gaslighting her. So Becca says that her intuition was right all along about his lack of authenticity, that he was being fake because he never had any interest in her at all. I don't know why he said yes on decision day. Austin, we could have forgiven you a tiny, 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 tiny bit if you would have said no on decision day. But the fact that you said yes to her and staying committed to her and staying true to your vows for whatever reason, because we're not making you say yes. You had a way out. You could have removed yourself from this situation, but you decided to stay in it, and you decided to say yes to her. Stick to your vows, knowing that you were not interested in her and that you were really interested in somebody else. Austin says, my priorities were misplaced. And Becca was like, you're damn right they were. Austin says that he's tried to be there for her, and it sucks that she didn't feel the same. Once again, you're still lying. Austin, it's over. You don't have to lie anymore. It's over. It's okay to be honest now, because the show is over. You made it to the end. They're going to have, I don't know if they're going to all go to another a getaway or whatever. You're going to show up for all of that. It's fine. You can show up to whatever they want you to show up to after this. Whatever events they have planned for y'all. It's okay. You don't have to canoodle with Becca anymore. You don't have to pretend like you want to sleep with her in the daytime and then hide from her at night. You don't have to do that anymore. It's over. Lauren and Emily want to know, what is she going to do now? And at that time, she said she didn't know what she was going to do. So then we have to watch Claire and Cameron fight. So they're going back and forth. Claire and Cameron, they start bickering because Cameron says, you know what, I can't be quiet no more. I'm going to have to, speak my truth. And the fact that he says his truth is that Claire manipulated and controlled him the whole entire time that they were married. He said that Claire would control what he said, how he said it, because she wanted to keep up a certain image. She didn't want to look like the bad guy. He said that Claire was never, I think he said that, or did I misheard? I thought he said that Claire was never, ever attracted to him. I think he did say that. Claire was never, ever attracted to him. But I guess she didn't want to look like the bad guy by, saying that she wasn't attracted to her husband. He says, And he's tired of it, so he's gonna let it all out. So then they talk about the whole double date thing, because during the season, Claire had revealed to Emily that Cameron told her Brandon had asked Cameron to go on double dates, and Cameron said it wasn't Brandon, it was me. I was the one that has suggested to Brandon, because our marriages are dead in the water anyway. We're all going to say no on decision day. He said that he has suggested to Brandon that after all of this is over, they should get together and go out on some dates, which I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, because at least you're waiting until the end to go out on the dates. Claire kind of made it look like they wanted to go on double dates while they were still married. But Cameron said that and I don't know what the truth is because the cameras weren't there, but Cameron says that he was the one that suggested it, not Brennan. And he has suggested that they do this after decision day. So while Cameron is doing his interview, because he got up and he walked away, and so he's doing his interview with production, and he says that his phone was going off because Claire is texting him, trying to figure out what he's saying and trying to control what he's saying in his own interview. And while he's saying this, we get a shot of Claire on her phone texting. It's sad, y'all. It's really sad that we've been lied to. We have been lied to this whole entire season. And the thing is that I feel like production knew. I think production even kind of knew that things that were happening off camera was completely different from what was going on camera. And they didn't want to, expose anybody, or that would have been some real ratings if production did their job and truly exposed these people for being the fraudsters that they were, because all of them are fraud. All of them are scamming us. We're watching this show for one reason, because y'all are presenting it to us in a way that, y'all are presenting us one thing, come to find out everybody involved is doing something completely different. So Michael asked everybody, so what are y'all going to do after this? And Brandon says he's going to self-reflect. Okay, good for you. Emily actually gets up out of her seat and says, I'm going to sit right next to you so you can actually hear me. And she goes and she sits on the arm of Brandon's chair and basically apologizes to him. And she was like, I'm going to take accountability for all that I've done and blah, 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 blah. And I want to start just a clean slate with you. I want to start over. There's no hard feelings. And he's like, that's cool. He takes her hand. He holds her hand. Now, when they did a close-up of Emily's hands, they were so swollen. Is this from the injury, Emily, or do we need to watch and monitor your salt intake, your sodium intake? Because, honey, your fingers were so swollen. I was kind of concerned. Lauren offered friendship to Orion. She says, okay, I'm going to put the friendship back on the table. Lauren, let me holler at you real quick. Once again, this man embarrassed the hell out of you. Okay, he made you out to be a racist. He said that you didn't even have the decency or whatever, or the sense to Google and to do some research on your own before you said the things that you said that he claims that you said. He shamed you for having intimate relations, you as an adult woman, before you got chosen for the show. You had an intimate relationship with someone and you revealed that to him because you want to be open, honest, and transparent with your husband. And he shamed you for that and told you he can't touch you now because now he knows that you've been with somebody else. Like, he hasn't. I mean, I know he said that he was in a long drought, like he hadn't had sex with anybody for like a year or two or whatever. But she's an adult woman who didn't even know she was going to be chosen at the time. And she was being honest with you, and you still shame her for that and says that, I can't be with you now. I can't even look at you now because, you've been with somebody else. He did all of these things to you. You claimed that on camera, he was trying to be your friend and trying to, build these bridges with you. But off camera, he can even, look your way or talk to you or try to connect with you in any way. You accused him of playing this double agent, one way on camera, something else off camera, and you're still going to offer friendship to him. You don't have to hold a grudge. You don't have to hate him. You can forgive him and move on. Why do you have to be, I'm still going to put friendship out on the table? The friendship is there if you want it. And then she says that she had reached out to him to check on him. Never once mentioned whether or not he ever reached out to her. So he's still not trying to build bridges with her. She's at reaching out to him, checking on him. Why are you checking on him? He's the one that wronged you, sweetheart. Orion wronged you. Why are you checking in on him to see if he's okay? Why? He's going to embarrass you, girl. But hey, thank God the show is over and you're not going to have to suffer this embarrassment on television. But this man is going to embarrass you. Stay the hell away from him, Lauren. He already showed you who he was. Stay the hell away from him. Chloe says that her and Michael are in a positive space right now. Michael talks about what a wonderful human Chloe is. And Becca says that she realizes now that it's over. They are way too different and there's absolutely no trust between her and Austin. And that is the end of my review. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, we've got a couple of more episodes, or maybe maybe a couple of more episodes. But I'm like, oh no, we have to go through this whole long drawn out thing with Michael and Chloe. I just want this to be over. Married at First Sight, I always wanted people to get a second chance if the person that they matched did not stay with them. Like Michael and whoever the runaway bride was, and also the other season, the guy's name was Chris. I forgot the girl's name, but she was a real piece of work. She wouldn't even want to move in with him, but she still wanted to live in the apartment without him so she can hang out with the other girls on the show. And she talked about his teeth really bad. I forgot her name, but she was awful. And she was cussing out production and everything. He was wronged, and I wanted them to give him another bride, to give him a second chance. I still believe in the second chance thing, but not in the same season. Let's save all the second chance people for another season. Like have a second chance spinoff or a second chance season or whatever. Please do not do it during the season where we have to endure the suffering even longer. This is emotional abuse now. Married at First Sight, Lifetime, you are emotionally abusing your viewers by showing us this crap and making us endure this extremely long season of nothing but toxicity and dysfunctionality and problematic people. I feel emotionally abused. But anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.